Vibe Show 97.9. Hope everybody having a blessed day, because if you not, you definitely about to have one right now with this guest that I'm bringing on right now. It's the vibes, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. New shit. Hey, yo, verse. Hey, talk to him. Yeah, now tell me shit I feel so wrong for things I'm setting aside.
Vibe Show 97.9. I'm your host, Kano the Don. Y'all already know what time it is. I'm super excited about my amazing guests that I have coming up tonight. And you know what? This is really not a special guest. This is actually a Vibe family member who's doing amazing things out here. She's coming back on the show again because we always get all of the treats all the time whenever she's doing some amazing stuff. So we lucky to actually be plugged into all of this amazingness that's going on. I'm talking about multi-talented author, poet, spiritual dancer, the one and only, my sis, Sultry Tha Poet. What's up?
Hey.
How you feeling? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Okay.
I'm feeling good. I like
Feeling
when I
good?
get to vibe.
Absolutely. See, that's it right there. Vibe. You know what I mean? It is a pleasure to have you back on here again. It's always a pleasure to have you on here because you always be having such good energy, and we always learn stuff whenever you on here. You just feed our spirits and feed our souls. So for me and the Vibe team, we welcome you back again.
Thank you.
Now, last time me and you connected and we linked up, it was definitely a magical moment. I really, really enjoyed myself. So I'm super excited about the things that's been going on from that time period to this time period. So let's tap in with, because you got so many amazing things that's been going on. Let's tap in because I know the last time you were on here, you had just had the big book launching. The book did really, really well. Let's pick up from there, from after releasing the book, all of the love and everything. Was it everything that you anticipated with actually putting your book out there?
That's a good question and even a good reflection because I don't think I've actually taken the time to reflect on all the steps since I did the book. Because
Mhm.
it'll be a year on June 12th.
Absolutely.
And so I honestly, the part that overwhelmed me that I didn't expect was just how out the gate, how many people was sending me their receipts, like taking pictures when they book came in the mail. I was like, oh,
Right.
I'm
It's
in your
real.
house. I'm in your
Right.
house now. Like so that felt really good. Cause as a poet, being that I've been doing it since I was a kid, 12 years old, I just turned 30 this year. So to like kind of get to a place where I felt like I have a complete moment,
Right.
that was to me the part that I don't even know if I appreciated it as much because when I've heard for years, especially in college and stuff, like, oh, when you gonna publish? When you gonna publish? Like it's a normal thing. If when you're a poet, it's
Right.
just normal for you to publish. But it's like the work that
That goes.
goes into it that ain't just, oh, you're a published poet now. You can clarify yourself and be validated in all your ways of wanting to be. But it's like to know how hard it is to independently do this stuff.
Right.
And to know that, like, one of the biggest things, and I'll be honest, because I'm gonna be honest, one of the biggest things was being able to know how to even trust people. Because,
Mhm.
you always hear about how many people get done over wrong, or royalty problems, or copyright issue, different things that are almost that get overlooked. But when you pay attention to it, you keep wondering, am I doing the right thing?
Right.
Putting a lot of money into this. Am I
Right.
doing the right thing? Is this really gonna pay off for me? Like even those are the moments where I've been dealing with since publishing.
Right.
Really understanding like once it's out there, that don't mean everybody gonna see it. They gonna do
Absolutely.
it's
Or
some
or
people don't
or
know you.
or it doesn't mean that everybody's going to purchase it either.
Exactly. And
Right.
that's what you want. You
Right.
want them to purchase it.
Absolutely.
So it's like when you really are in new territory, it's like it just make you feel really, especially if you're a faith walker, a believer, you start realizing, okay, this is that Bible part of life.
Right. Right. Right.
The unknown. I'm trusting God. You told me to do it. I heard the vision. I made it work. It came to pass.
Right.
I know I'm not tripping. It came to pass.
Right.
So it's like now being in that position and walking it out, I'm just constantly still having to take in the fact that, even if it's one person that I found out about my book that week, or, it's something that somebody happened to say who bought my book and mentioned like, oh, I like this poem.
Mm-hmm.
I know one thing that recently happened that I even had to, send a prayer up when it happened. I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Like, because
Right.
I had recently started seeing a chiropractor. And, I was like, thank God for insurance. I like trying new stuff.
Right.
So I, started seeing a chiropractor and everything. And just through conversations, found out I was an author. And my next time came in, she had my book, the
Now,
hard.
wait a minute.
It was
Now,
like,
that's big.
can you sign it? Was
That's big.
asking me, at the end while I'm checking out, she's all like, what poem do you recommend? Then my next visit, oh, I read the poem you told me. What else do you want? And I'm like, okay, it is nice to get those jolts of like, okay, I am what I did. I'm an
Right.
author. I'm a person that now I'm inspiring. I'm walking it out. And
Right.
I keep finding myself in those moments that confirm like, no, your vision is not complete, but you started something that God is allowing you to see.
Now, let me ask you something. Now, to be honest with you, you
Okay.
know, hearing this doesn't really surprise me. Now, I'm going to be honest with you because I knew, and shout out to Vibe Show Casper, and shout out to the vice president of the Vibe Show is on here as well. Shout out to y'all on the check in. Um, Now, and big shout out to Vibe Show Casper, which actually made this connection initially from the beginning.
Yeah.
Casper is like one of these type of people for the Vibe Show that actually sought out these talents, these talented people, and he brings them my way. And some of it I entertain, some of it I don't. You know what I mean? But I knew it was something special about you because he wouldn't get off the gas about you. So I had to check it out because he'll send me a whole bunch of people to check out, and I'll be busy and stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But he just wouldn't get off the gas with you. So he was like, "Man, have you checked it out?" So I went checked it out, and I was like, went on your page, and that was when you had like all of the poems up
Yeah.
there, and I was just like,
Yeah.
"Yo, wait a minute, she is dope." So then me and you connected, and then I got an opportunity to be blessed to talk to you. And I think the first time that we talked, we might have talked for about an hour.
We did.
Exactly. So
Naturally.
I knew then, I was like, man, when I got off the phone with you, I was like, man, there's something special about this queen right here. So, and then these were plans and ideas and visions that you had then at that moment. We talked
Mhm.
about things that you wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
So seeing these things accomplished and talking about, you're going to put out a book and you're putting it together, and then, seeing it all come to fruition, and then the response and getting all that love, and it's actually impacting people's lives. That's a big deal, Sultry. I'm proud of you, like literally.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
It
tell
feels
me
good
this.
to be proud of.
Tell
It
me this.
does.
tell me this, because you were in a different space
Hmm.
when you came on then. Even with all of these amazing things that were going on, you were still dealing with some challenges and
Yeah.
faced with a whole bunch of obstacles and dealing with getting a lot of negative energy from a lot of different places. So we were talking about the way that you were actually dealing with all of these different things on top of trying to move in a different space in your life. So now with the new energy and the new space that you're in right now, can we talk about coming out the outer end of that into the new light that you're in right now?
Okay. Um, it's interesting that you even went there because in a short period of time, I felt like I got swamped with a lot of stuff, loss, a
Hmm.
lot of disappointment, um, even feeling really hurt in some ways. I felt like in my personal relationship with God. Um, I'm still, because I know I mentioned it last time, I'm still working on forgiveness.
Right. Absolutely.
That is a huge sore spot for me that I'm always transparent about, even with my family, my friends. Like, I never pretend like I got it all together.
Right.
It's just certain areas that I have learned to self motivate, to self encourage, and sometimes that come in spurts.
Right.
But I do have to train my mind. I have to train my atmosphere. And how I do that is by focusing on what I can control. And that's where does it start with Kiana? What I listen to.
Right.
I find myself where I do get back to those zones where I don't want to hear nothing but gospel music. Then if I am listening to gospel music, I only want to hear a certain type. I want to hear worship music. I
Right.
want to hear things that are going to cause me to get into the realm of the spirit that God wants me to focus.
Right.
I've learned in age and how to really self control how I feel in the moment.
Now pause right there, because that's deep. Now, because a lot of people suffer with battling with
Mhm.
these inner spirits that, they're part of you that wants
Yeah.
to grow, but then the other part that's been fed for a while still got a little strength with it, that's like trying to keep you in that space of
Yeah.
non-growth. Can we talk about the battle, like, because you're going into that, but I just wanted
Hmm.
to touch on that because I don't want to run past that point, because a lot of people are suffering with that right now. You want
Yeah.
to do more and do better and change your life and change your surroundings, change the people that's in your life, removing
Hmm.
those
You
people.
want to even quit blaming,
Let's
like
talk about that.
you get to a point where it's like it every day I have given this breath, I can do something with it. Like it took even in the process of me going through what I went through, I still reached out to you behind the scenes to say, you know what, let me get some artistic energy. Let
Facts.
me find that expression, that person that can even reflect on life in the way that we not just trying to burden ourselves.
Ah.
Having the dialect like this is talking about the real, but you not trying to complain and burden yourself any
Hmm.
more than what you already feel.
Hmm.
I'm a big person on making lists. I write out things. I write out where sometimes I'll have to write at the top of my paper. I just go back to them school things that I learned, put a
Right.
title up there, start filling in what you want. And sometimes it start with next like life goals. Sometimes it starts with me literally listing inner circle. Me thinking, like, who can every time I call on really pick up? Like, if I
Hmm.
say show up, virtually pulling up, you actually coming through? Are you know what I mean? I start even going through those and sifting out the places in my life that bring peace. My form of peace is sometimes being an atmosphere where everybody not cussing.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Sometimes my piece is where no, I don't want to talk about your man problems or mine. Or, I
Hmm.
then have
Hmm.
to find, like I say, sometimes I know even recently I have, friends and family members that I circle. when we're away from each other, but the coming together, the calling, our lives are circling and mirroring each other in various ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I got a text from one of my closest friends, and she just texted me and was like, Kiana, like, let me know what I can do to keep this relationship going.
Wow.
Like, you a dope person, you this type of woman, I love you, this and this and this. Let's keep our friendship going for a lifetime. What is it gonna take?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask her to send that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But God has placed people in my life that can reflect even in their own time on the importance of who's around them. Your
Mm-hmm.
relationships matter. And I text her back. I just was like, needing a prayer partner more. It's
Mm-hmm.
nice to just, really find people that are, like you were saying, trying to elevate. We all got things going on, but to know even on her end, she reflecting on who she loves, the things that she's growing for. And it's nice to know that you can find people to walk out life like that.
Mm-hmm.
And because in your private time, you have to choose what your meditation form is.
Right.
Like I said, I learned a long time ago, it was writing.
Mm.
Writing was my easiest form of healing.
Right.
As I started maturing as a woman, writing wasn't the answer all the time. It
Right.
was, now, Kiana, you saw your great grandma pray. You saw your grandma pray. You saw your mama pray, your aunts, your great aunts, and that ain't fake.
Right.
You
Right.
got to, you watch some stuff to learn that's gonna have to come in your household. That came knowing, like, okay, I know how to anoint some walls. I
Right.
know how to turn off music and just say, you know what, God, is just me and you.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to be able, it's just some things you really have to look at yourself and say, I'm on this earth really alone. And that's not a bad thing. So many people have tried to seek that out as a negative, but your alone time is sometimes your best time as a human being. You can be flooded by so many people's thoughts, their actions, and sometimes people naturally walk around with gifts that they don't know of.
Right.
You have empathy. You can feel people without their talking. There are some people that can focus on the mind so much by just the tit tats of people's words
Mm-hmm.
that they are able to then get in tune with whatever. People have a lot of ways that we naturally absorb each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but actually realizing that sometimes that when you don't be in the presence of everyone, that you are left with just you
Mm-hmm.
and everything that you have absorbed for years.
Right.
And it's your job to sift it out. And some people don't do that good.
Right.
Some people don't like being alone for that very reason, that they have fear of whatever it is that they're going through.
Is that a
They,
bad thing though? Is that a bad thing um to not want to be alone? Because
I won't
and
say
correct
it is,
me.
because that's even biblical. God said it's not good that man is alone.
Right.
So but we do have to understand that aloneness is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It doesn't have to. Nothing in a in our human existence is permanent anyway.
Right.
Everything is changing every second. Our heartbeat is changing. Our growth pattern. Our hair can be growing and we don't know it.
Right.
It's something is always changing in our existence, and knowing that alone time is not always going to be a permanent thing.
Right.
But knowing that the truth of the matter is, we can't act like as a growing adult that you don't understand that there are times that there is not going to be someone you can always rely on or turn to or fall back on.
Right.
And I feel like some people feel lonely because of just the love aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people feel alone because they have been abandoned physically from birth.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know what I mean? People go into foster systems.
Different layers of it.
You know what I mean? There are real
Mm-hmm.
life things people walk out that you can't downplay about, the state of loneliness and things. So no, I don't think it's bad. I just think that if people actually understand that sometimes it's a necessity,
It's
it would
necessary.
knock out some of that fear of, well, what if no one's here? If you found out by yourself, by
Mm-hmm.
being alone, you would know how strong you are. You
Now,
would know how well God talks to you. You
what
would
you
know how
saying?
even intelligent you are sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
because you've been able to piece things throughout your walk of life.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely agree with you on that because I always do. I always try to reflect back on things that I've been through in my life, and
Yeah.
it helps me with my future path because when I'm going through some things or whatever, I reflect back on what I've went through and made it through.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I never forget the things that mistakes that I've made that may have placed me in certain situations or whatever. And I reflect back on those things.
Because they become learning moments.
Yes. And I'll be like, you know what, man? Or if I'm going through something at that moment, I'll be like, you know what? It's really not that bad because
Mhm.
I made it through the fire. So,
You start
like, yeah.
really thinking like, dude, hold on. I got past this kind of stuff before.
Right.
I literally have just recently, been saying like, dang, God really has brought me through stuff. Like
Mhm,
I had
mhm,
to think like
mhm.
I've been at that eviction state. I've
Yeah,
been
yeah,
at that I don't fool with these people, but
right,
now we better.
right,
I've watched some people walk out of my life and I don't think twice about them.
fact.
Like I just knowing that some of them things that people in your just growing life, and when I'm saying growing life, meaning from your books you read from a kid, your cartoons you watch, the TV shows, the movies, the music you have exposed to, and the stories we've been hearing.
Mhm.
And knowing sometimes you really don't relate to all of them.
Right.
You really don't. And that's not bad because it's just knowing that, hey, I really have a real life choice. I have real life patterns. But knowing that some of the things I've been through that relate to you, I did not come out like you.
Mm,
And I have a track record of knowing that when I stay still, or when I did choose to move by faith, or when I did da 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 da, and I could see where God hand was in my life,
right.
and really knowing like it's a benefit to me growing up hearing so many people at award shows or whatever and they speeches, but at the end of it say keep God first.
Mhm.
Okay, check. You know, like
Right.
you know what I mean? You see all these people, and back to the when I was a kid, I remember watching the BET Awards and Will and Jada hosting. They said if you can't perform your work in church, don't thank God for
Right.
that. But
Right.
realizing like even that didn't stop people. It
Right.
didn't stop people from saying that. And I feel like that's just even an important factor because your lifestyle don't always resemble your understanding of and truth of your relationship with God. You
Facts.
know,
I'm with you with that. I'm definitely with you with that.
because some people accidentally show sides of themselves that they don't always realize impact somebody.
Right. Right. Let me ask you this. A lot has changed since the last time we've spoken. Last time you've graced the show. COVID wasn't here then. Those transitions and things that has happened in life, I feel like the world has changed.
Yeah.
Um, can we talk about some of the impacts that it has had on your life with COVID hitting? So many people lost jobs, lost loved ones, was impacted tremendously. Seemed like the racial profiling rates have went up and skyrocketed
Mhm.
with the number of people that's been dying and being killed senselessly.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how those transitions have impacted you from a mental aspect with being so spiritually plugged in on the level that you're on?
It's interesting that you
You
I
already
always
know
love
how
how
I'm
you put stuff. You
You
always
know
give me a
how
good
I'm
smooth landing for this. But I how I am, I honestly I checked out a lot
hmm
because I realized that because a lot of people are stuck at home, it's so easy to do this. It's so easy to do this.
Right.
And when you're watching other people and their way live their life, like you see still people out of nowhere taking all these vacations or vacations.
Right.
Like, out of nowhere, everybody traveling somewhere. Out of nowhere, it seemed like because you stuck at home or you don't got the money for this, it seemed like everybody is still in some way prospering. Because the truth of the matter is COVID has also showed to me where I feel like people don't highlight is that everyone is not struggling. So many people have been, even in this process, getting GoFundMes. People have been donating to people. People have been raising money for different things. People have been showing up to different things. I like the fact, at times when you do choose to get into the virtual family world, because everybody create their family on there. They do. You choose what you follow. You choose what you comment, post on, and people in their own way find themselves related to whoever it is they follow because they become a part of your life.
Right.
You're seeing them all the time.
Right.
And I'm one of the ones where it's like I love so hard, but I do it from a distance very well. I even have learned in this time, me and my dad joke about it, like we love being homebodies. We love being loners. We have the oldest child syndrome, where it's like you done been blocked with everybody, bombarded your whole life. You want to be by yourself. And I've really learned the strength in knowing sometimes, even in ways that you don't try to compare yourself. But naturally, I look at the world now and be like, dude, y'all are them kids that couldn't sit still in class. Y'all having a hard time staying at home. Like, why is that so bad? Y'all having a hard time following instructions. Why you can't wear a mask? It's some stuff you are really realizing, even the stupidity that is on phones and in the virtual world more. I do, my heart gets hardened all the time seeing, because I follow majority Black people, whether it's their media platforms, like this or whatever, or their popular figure or whatever. But I generally follow people that I've entertained by or I'm motivated by. Or I'm seeing their lifestyle and I'm like, yeah, I can see myself doing that. No hate. You're just showing me how to do it.
Right.
Like, I have a different reason for why I choose to engage in what my eyes and my ears see and receive. And a lot of the, things that I see about what Black people are still going through, that's a struggle in itself, because you realize, like, goodness, this is stuff we've been reading about in history books in school. Right. This is the same stuff that and ain't nothing changed. I know. You know what I mean? All I still see, more and more is that I'm like, okay, God, you really are showing the differences in generations and even how things have been changing. Right. And when I say by that is because we, a lot of 90s and millennial babies, majority, are fired up about the stuff that we don't like no more. Mm-hmm. I feel like we really are a generation because of us still knowing what came before us. Yeah. We weren't always looking down like this. You know what I mean? We were the big age and seeing social media grow. I had a Black Planet. Mm-hmm. I had a MySpace. Right. I had the transitions of what came to be to the TikToks. And we were a part of that. And we got so expressive in everything that now we make the headlines. We are the people that are trending. And that's why so many people are paying attention even now. That you're able to get influenced by commenters because they're the ones that are literally taking documentation of it. Mm-hmm. I've been watching that in the media world too. How you were watching celebrities post everything that now all their fans are doing. They're paying attention. You're watching how now there is no boundary lines. Right. There are not real separations of what's making you different from me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You grew up similar to me. You're watching the same things. We are all in the same country, visually capturing things that are literally almost pointless to our minds. Right. Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, we all unanimously see stuff and y'all not trying to unanimously change it. Like, it gets frustrating. Yeah. So I go through phases where it's like, no, I don't want to scroll. I don't want to see nothing today. Mm-hmm. I will watch regular TV. Right. I will go on Hulu and binge watch Law and Order. I will go watch. I just watch House Party 2.
I know. You know what? It's funny
sometimes you just gotta keep
say that because I always throw it back when I do engage and have time to watch some TV or or just maybe be able to relax for a little while, because it's always so intense on in my world. And
Yeah.
but I'm always finding myself throwing it back, because those are
You
the
have
things that I
to
enjoy to
sometimes.
watch. The older movies, I watch all the episodes of Sanford the Son, Martin, them,
Yep.
things that and I enjoy, because everything now, whenever I do may breeze through today's television or whatever, it's always some reality stuff going. There's so many different reality shows
It's so
now.
scripted for the boring, wrong reasons.
Yeah, I'm just burnt out with all that.
Like I'm for people getting their money, but at some point, it's like
I need some substance in my life.
yes, that. And on top of that, I don't understand how so many people. This is one thing about society that I'm a person. Like when it comes to my three favorite focuses about life, it's really astrology,
Mhm.
numerology, and sociology. I love all the forms of those three things and truly how they give explanation to who and why we are where we are.
Right.
And then the understanding of where sociology like sits heavy on my heart, my mind, is because I'm obsessed with how we get along. I'm
Mm.
obsessed with how culture and life paths and bloodlines affect us,
Right.
and using those things to really walk out purpose. And I got to a point where I was realizing, like, dude, all this stuff is the same. It's the same. Like I did just watch the Mortal Kombat. I did just see that on HBO Max. I
How was
watched
it?
the
How was
Godzilla and all of them.
how
Like
was
some
your
people do dope remakes, but some people keep just doing the same thing. Like I'm tired of the lack of creativity. I'm tired of the same kind of beauty trends. I'm tired of the. It's just the same.
Mhm.
Like even the shade room shows that well. Like it's a lot of same stuff. Like, and
Yeah.
it's not always the good same. Because
Right.
some stuff you know as just good and well knowing somebody else's generation needs to know this.
Mhm.
Someone needs to pass on, some Aretha Franklin. Someone needs to pass on some Whitney Houston. Someone, and you can keep going back to your decade, but we're only gonna know it because you brought it with you.
Facts.
And so it's like it becomes a respect thing to the table. And I do love how we even got to these places where some things are different. I love the versus battles, how it calls out people's thought process, what we all been looking at, how
Mhm.
we all been agreeing, like, yep, that's the best, that matchup as well. We
Yeah.
all been thinking this, we all been, it's some things that I like how it has benefited us in drawing in our likeness, but the same to me gets very boring because you're taking away people's identity by trying to conform so much. You
Mm.
want to reach a standard of what right now is considered high or
Right.
beauty or whatever, and it's going to change again. Before it was just, I was like literally, like I said, because I've been binge watching, and I was like, me and my bestie was on the phone like, girl, why was everybody in the 90s so fine? Like, why? I still talk about Nia Long. I was like, I
Right.
love Angela Bassett. I want,
Mm.
I tell people I'm gonna be Angela Bassett fine. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be Angela Bassett
It
fine.
was a
She
whole
was
nother
good.
vibe. It
She,
was.
I mean, but just where we grew up, you know what I mean? Seeing the examples of beauty, they weren't heavy on makeup in the face. They
Mhm.
had more natural, you know what I mean? Slender bodies was that thing. You're just now getting to the 2000 where everybody's thick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the fact of your beauty ideas will always change with the time. So always trying to conform to what it is always, I feel like, gonna hurt you. And
Right.
we're gonna see so many people, and I'm not one of them people that body shame or whatever, but you're in a phase where so many people obsess over plastic surgery and not knowing that 10 years from now you don't know what you're gonna look like.
Facts.
I mean, it's some things that I feel like just because it's trendy and you really want this fantasy of appeal, it hurts a lot of people. and a lot of time it's yourself. And
Right.
it's because truly you still feel hurt in some way that you were not accepted the first time until
Mhm.
you did this. That's gonna still exist in you.
Right.
At the end of the day, I had to make these changes to feel accepted, to get the hype, to get, and I could have just been me. I'm one of them people where it's like I don't ignore pretty privilege. It's a real thing. It's a
Right.
real thing. But it crosses race line, age. It also crosses weight because everybody that's heavy set ain't unattractive. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's always somebody putting your community on.
Hmm.
Let's be real. It's always somebody
That
getting
is
that
true.
pretty privilege, putting your community on.
That
And
is
you can't
true.
shame them for that. It's really truly how they choose to carry themselves with the grace in it.
Hmm.
But I just feel like if so many people in this time we're not so obsessed, because I mean, I ain't never scrolled so much and seen women wear makeup all day. Every day. Every day. Like, like, dude, we wearing masks and stuff. Like,
Right.
this is a rarity. I had a reason to do this. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Y'all
Hmm.
every day doing this, like, still.
That is true,
It's
though.
some stuff that
That
I'm
is
like,
true.
come on. These reality shows, these all this stuff of just pretend. It's like real life Barbie now. Like girls, I grew up in my era where Barbie dolls was still popular. It was before all these brats and all of these things. Barbie was the stuff. And
Right.
I remember playing hours, even days. Me and my cousin could play Barbies for days. We lived in our imagination. We were girls in that right. We had innocence. We had youth. And to know that it's like sometimes I really look at that life that I would pretend and be like, y'all became those.
Yeah,
it's
that is true, though.
y'all all
That
look
is true.
a
It's
lot of them look
crazy.
the same. And it's to me is one of those things where it's like, now I believe in the power of bloodlines and your ancestors showing up. That's why a lot of us look similar. We
Hmm.
could be related. We see the people side by side. They look like they could be the same person. I
Right.
believe that stuff is real. You got twins out there walking around, but it's another thing when you choosing to make your face look like somebody.
Right.
Like that to me is a tough thing where I people are giving that example to younger people already.
Right.
You can have a 13-year-old or 14-year-old already trying to predict what they about to look like because they've seen people do it, and it's
Right.
okay.
Let me ask you this, because something that you that I've grown to enjoy, that you started, and I would like to know what was the inspiration for the evaluation nights,
Yeah,
elevation nights. I want to
oh
know about
yeah.
that.
I
Super
want to start
amazing.
doing that again. I
Yeah,
stopped because of COVID.
come
I
on.
did. I had paused. It's something I want to get back into. I just more so been waiting for everything to get back to the flow of things. I'm in Kansas City, so a lot of stuff is getting back to the point of you now not having to be limited to the people.
Yeah.
And I know that more people are ready to get out, so I do plan to try to start it up again, especially with the summer right around the corner and everything.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time to start getting back in front of people in person and just reading poetry.
What? So, like, the because I just feel like, you know it's so powerful when you actually, because I'm checking the pieces out and I'm like, man, it's just like it's just moving all through me. Um, and I feel like, that energy was necessary. You know what
Thank
I
you.
mean? Um, and now you also, you do dance ministry.
Mhm.
Um, I want to talk about that too, because I always wondered, um, when doing it, um, what does that transcend? Like, is it Is it freestyling, moving with the spirit and the vibes, or it's something that's actually coordinated? I always wondered that because I feel like when seeing the dances and stuff, like I feel like the spirit really be moving, and the motions and the whole. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I like that. That is a good question. I've never. It's good to get insight sometimes on how people really view what you do.
Right.
I've been dancing since I was little, so by the age of 6, I was taught how to reverence God. That's where it
Mm,
starts. You're taught, in verbal form, like some of the first names that stick out in biblical terms. Everybody talks about David and how he danced out of his clothes. But it was his form of worship that he would ignore everybody around him. You know
right.
what I mean?
I
It
got.
starts there in that translation of knowing, like, okay, my whole body is used to glorify God.
Mm,
Any movement I am choosing to focus on and offering it up and focus, you know what I mean?
right.
That is a start right there. And choosing how I'm going to reverence God. I, in my earlier stages, when I would work and dance with groups or, teach dances to, because every church I went to, I
Right.
ended up being a choreographer. Every church that I went to, I made up their dances. And it was one of those things where it came naturally because everybody would kind of be like, yeah, you good at it. Do it.
Right.
So
Right.
I never, nobody fought me on it or nothing. So I had a lot of free range and a big imagination. So once I learned how to submit my presence and my whole temple to God, from there, I started then having my mind open up to where I could visualize what I'm going to do to give him reverence. I
Right.
can then hear a song and immediately, like, how you asked earlier, where that's where my freestyle aspect comes in, where I can move in how I feel. I can
Right.
hear one of my favorite people to dance to is, I love Marvin Sapp. He's my favorite gospel artist.
Right.
Period. I love his psalmist spirit. I love his worship. And as a dancer, whether you sing or only focus on dancing, because a lot of dancers sing too, doing a choir naturally. So when you tie in the two, you already love music. So
Mm-hmm.
then now when you're choosing to hold off on one gift of singing and worshiping your God, you're now saying, I'm going to use and command my whole body to do it.
Oh wow.
I'm
Okay.
gonna I am going to convey my spirit that is within me to line up with the person who is going forth in worship. They're putting their spirit on the line. You, as the body of Christ, can join in at any time with someone's spirit in their
Right.
worship. You can feel the impact. So a lot of times that's what transcends when people start standing up. They start lifting their hands. They start hearing the amens. You start
Mm,
hearing the feedback like like in the church culture. You're gonna call out what you feel in your
mhm.
spirit. We're trained to have that freeness of yes, and then you can see people's tears come. I've done praise dances where people end up shouting at the end. I've, you know what I mean? I've been in those atmospheres of what it means to gather on one accord and even people having reverence for what you're doing because
Mm,
they know that you're taking serious your moment to go up and worship. Even knowing that a lot of times when dancers are called up, they're called up sometimes right before the preacher preaches. They want to set the atmosphere.
right.
Sometimes, depending on the type of dance teams. Normally, if they're bigger groups, a lot of them are in praise teams doing the choir songs because now you're trying to get the whole atmosphere jovial. You're
Right.
trying to get on live in that. But a lot of times, a lot of smaller groups or more intimate songs are generally gone forth right before the word, sometimes
Mhm.
right before offering, because it's compelling your spirit to come in to gathering of what it is to commune, what it is to do
Right.
these things. And I know, that's only just the technically the performance part, but knowing that those things happen first during practice, those
Hmm.
truths, trying to find out like what unison mean. I would tell people, while I was 12, 13 years old, like, that ain't together. Like, I knew just even what order and unification can do to an atmosphere.
Right.
I've watched dances and been at churches, or even just gone on YouTube binge watching dances just to get in the atmosphere of how this person is worshiping. And it's something when, especially when you're talking about big groups, when they're unified, there's power.
Right. Absolutely.
It's not you sloppily doing stuff. You're not just throwing your hands. You're commanding the atmosphere to obey what you're doing.
Mm.
It's about God, and then once they see that, it follows through, and the spirit can take over at any time. I
Wow.
know still to this day, when I go back to my YouTube channels and I go watch some of my praise dance, I can feel exactly the spirit I felt exactly when I was dancing. I would cry more watching my dances than doing them.
Right.
And it's because I still can connect with what was going on. Because the
That's deep.
spirit, it just don't stop.
That's deep.
It don't.
Let me ask you this. Another, this was just amazing, and we talked about it. And when you were actually putting this together, and then to actually see it, it was just dope, and it was everything that you projected that it was going to be. Don't Make Me, featuring Miles Terry. I love
Mysterious.
Mysterious is what it is. Okay, so she got it
Uh-huh.
MYS. Okay, so
Mhm.
it's Mysterious. She got it broke up like that. Let's feature Mysterious. Let's talk about that, because to present it in that way um was just amazing with the music and poetry. Let's talk about that, because the end result I just thought was just super amazing.
Thank you. I uh I love working with other poets,
Hmm.
and she's one of the ones where it's like she already a powerful poet, so she only want to team up with other people on her level.
Right.
And so that was cool, for me, because she already had been doing her thing in Kansas City before I moved back. So I love getting acquainted with people and their artistry. And now you're talking about sharing a platform. Your message is how we correlate and how we group. Do we vibe? Because everybody you just can't link up with and write and something gonna pop.
Facts.
It's just not. And she was one of them ones, like, she came to one of my elevation nights, my
Wow.
first one. And afterwards, we talked for almost an hour in the parking lot.
Come on.
Those hour conversations that just
Yeah.
fly. And it was one of those things, and we knew instantly we was gonna work together. And
Right.
once we sat down and did it just flowed. It just flowed. And it was, oh, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. We doing this, okay, it crossover well, you doing you well, I'm doing me well. We ain't clashing. It's smooth. Like,
Right. Right.
it's all good. And that's how that came. And then even with the idea, she was like, I airbrush, I do this, I do that, put our names on our jacket and stuff. I was like, okay,
Right.
like, it
Right.
was just fun. It was just straight up fun to be able to bring them together, and knowing that the music wasn't, the main focus. It was just what it was we wanted to say, the message we wanted to say.
Right.
But I ever since then, I've released my album from my book. And that was more of me choosing, that was the introduction. But afterwards, I chose to just show, like, this is how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So working with her was just a build up to, like, okay, because I was in the studio working on stuff, but I didn't want everyone to know what I was doing. I do move in silence a lot. I don't. I'm
Absolutely.
not a. I'm not a boaster.
Yeah.
I'm. I'm. It's just, it can come natural, but I would have to focus on the fact that I'm boasting. So it's not
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah, and
Like,
it takes
you know what
from
I mean?
it takes from the
It's just one of them
organicness of
things.
it
If I'm
all.
asked, I'm gonna talk.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
got you. I got
you
you.
know,
I'm definitely, I'm feeling you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I'm with
yeah.
you on that.
It's just some things where, and it's funny because my auntie, she said that she was like, we don't never know what you doing. Like you always just do. I'm like,
It's the
yeah, I just
mystique
say it
of
when
it
it
all,
happens.
and I
I
think that
say it when it happens.
you're still capturing and keeping preserved the mystique of it all, because I think that's where a lot of a lot of what's going on in the world, when we, in reference back to what you were talking about, as far as like with social media, the world, reality show, it's too much exposure. You know what I mean?
Yes,
There's no
yes.
mystique about it all.
Candid,
Yeah,
candid.
it's no
You
mystique
just
about it all.
have
We
a
know.
private life still.
Yeah, we know. We know what you ate and what you was eating. You're having a intimate moment out with
Right.
your significant other or with family or whatever.
Yeah.
And as soon as the food, we gotta hit the restaurant, pulling up. Then we gotta, we get to the table. We gotta
Yeah.
hit the hors d'oeuvres and the
Like,
appetizers.
cause it's like in all actuality, it's gotten to the point where it's like if sex doesn't sell, your life do, and people want to judge your life all
Exactly.
day.
All day.
And it's like if we already know that, why give people access and just to say, "Oh, well, I made a bag off of it," but you sold so much of yourself that was you. And then because I very well believe in people's visions, ideas, or whatever even steps that they have to go through a part of their journey. But I do believe in our free will of knowing that you still access so much of yourself to people for their clapbacks, for their digging, for their, and it's so many people that we still don't know nothing about their personal life, and A-list celebrities. So we
Absolutely.
know it's a choice.
Yeah.
We know it's a choice to exploit yourself for fame and just for the followings to pick up and the views, because if people heard about you, they're gonna say, "Who is this?" and go look you up. So
Yeah.
you're gonna get the view. We know what's going on. But
Right.
at the same time, I literally think about people's psyche. Like I
Mhm.
say, I'm that sociology aspect, because you affect how people interact if they're obsessed with you.
Right.
And if they're obsessed with you and you obsess with another version of yourself that you're not, and then that's gonna keep causing confusion.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't laugh in the sense that I would mock you, but it's knowing that the truth of the matter is that whether you're confusing yourself or other people, you still have a responsibility when you choose to get out there.
Fact.
Like that's why people in this, the more and more in this time, you can see how many people can sue at the drop of a hat just because you said something they didn't like.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like it's getting so serious because you want to call yourself interacting and being a human and being transparent with your audience, but you still don't owe them everything because your audience are in the comments telling you that they wouldn't do it. So
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
it's like, who are you really doing this for?
Right.
Because a lot of people watching you wouldn't do it. That's why they're watching you. I don't want to be out there. I don't want people nitpicking at my life. I don't, but some people are drawn to it. They're called to that place. They can't help that they're going to be this person in someone's life.
Right.
You know what I mean? I
Becomes
am a
an
very
addiction.
firm believer in that God will be the elevator of you,
Right.
especially, when you are living a life that is truly unto Him and knowing that the purpose He has given you is not only for you. And I do believe He will cause you to be the example, even when you don't want to be. But
Mhm.
there are so many ways that I feel like our generation ain't getting that you can still have class, you
Right.
can still have decency.
Right.
You can still be covered up at some point in your career. Like, you got to say it like that now. Like, at some point in your career, are you covered? It's bad. It's bad. And I feel like, somebody can oh, that's their body, that's they this, that's this, that's it. I've seen the comments say, oh, the TV ain't responsible for raising your kids, but yet everyone will glorify the Lil Kims and everybody else that they've been influenced by. But where did you see them? Did you see them in your house?
Right.
Like, let's quit acting like social media and the world around us ain't all, we're all influential. Walking down the street, you see a girl with a hairstyle you ain't seen on a celebrity. She was more influential than them.
Right.
Like, you just don't choose what a child is going to draw into.
Mm-hmm.
And you should at least still be able to say, okay, no, I'm not your mama. No, I'm not this. I don't got to be your role model. But truly, you want them to be. That's what fans are. Like,
Right.
you
Right.
got people who look up to you, want to be you. They obsess over you because they like how you do you. You
Right.
can't act like it don't come with the territory. You're influencing them. You get excited that they look like you and want to boast on you. So
Right.
it's like you can't try to see one
You can't,
without the
yeah,
other.
you can't straddle the
You
fence.
can't. You can't act like they don't coexist. They come
Mm-hmm.
together.
Mm-hmm.
And no, you're not the one that's responsible, but you
But
are.
you have a responsibility
You
though.
do hold a responsibility,
Right.
because at the end of the day, they're still seeing you as the person that you are. And it is your job, to me, especially as a woman, and then on top of that, as a woman of color, but to also know that there are more aspects to you than a body figure that will change.
Mm.
Because once it changed, what are you left with? You're still left with your mind. You're still left with your integrity. You're still left with the things that can't be sold. But the truth be told, they will always elevate you on another level.
Mm.
It just is what it is. And I feel like the more we get past, oh, your body look good, your hair look good, your this, your that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you gotta name list them. Like, you gotta now can't even post a picture without tagging every person that did your face, your hair, your
No.
outfit. Like, come on, it's like at some point, like, everybody want credit, everybody. And I just feel like the more we keep getting into those things of where you're acting like you're not responsible, you're gonna constantly keep hurting people. You're going
Right.
to constantly keep giving people excuses to not hold you accountable for something that you know you're responsible for. The adulthood is all about accountability and responsibility.
Facts.
That is one of the things that separates you from a child, from an
Mm-hmm.
adolescent, from youth, period. Is because of the amount of responsibility and accountability and respect and values that have to come with your life. There's a reason someone can look at you and be like, you're 30 and you're still doing this. You know
Right.
what I mean? That stuff
Right.
is
Right.
real, because
Right.
people who walk these ages and do these experiences too know that there's growth on every level. And I'm just saying that as a woman, especially just knowing that everything that is overly revealed at some point, you should know that just covering your nipples and parts of your vagina or something is just not modesty. And it doesn't mean that you exude sexuality or I'm proud of my body. You can do that at home,
Yeah.
fully naked, by yourself. You know what I mean? But instead, people want to just go with that whole narrative of, it's gonna make me money, so it's gonna be better off for me.
You
But
know.
then you, in your lone time, you crumble. You're
Right.
upset that
Yeah,
people
because you
are
don't have the. 'Cause
devaluing
you're
you.
not in front of the fans. You're not on live. You're not.
Yeah,
You
you're being, and you
know,
find out on, and the thing is like, like I say, it's never about hating on how a woman shows herself, because if you have the curves and the fashion fits it right, you are rocking it. And some
Mhm.
people will respect you on that. But some people choose to flaunt themselves in a manner that comes with natural degrading.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
I
Your
agree
sex
with you on
appeal
that.
can be shown with a turtleneck dress all the way down to your ankles. Like, you know what I mean? It's just some things you can't blame on just your body's features as why you call it that.
Right.
At some point, you trying to take away the rest of what women know as their, no, this is I've seen, my mama's one of them women. where she's, you know, people since I was little would tell me like, oh, you look just like your mama. And to get older and really know what that meant from some perverted people, like, oh, you don't look just like your mama. You know what I mean? And this is as a girl coming into womanhood, a black girl with the shape, with not things that you're not paying attention to because you're a kid.
Right.
And knowing that you want me to pretend like now the older I get, that it just comes as a dollar sign perk. No. You cause other women to think that stuff is okay. And then that puts them in positions you can't even get them out of because they don't want to talk about it. Every chick, it's a reason you have stuff that pop off like a Me Too movement. Then you got people out of the woodworks. Now all of a sudden it's a trend to accuse a dude by buttloads. Like, oh, everybody come out the woodworks. It's like you keep entertaining wrongdoing, and that makes other women suffer. So I'm not gonna be one of them chicks that just want to okay everything you're doing. No, your chicks don't need to be out at this event.
I know, right?
Ain't nobody saying they can't be out. It's at this event.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody saying your cleavage ain't high. It's nice. It's beautiful, girl. You got some nice boobs. They don't need to be out here.
Right.
Not at this event. You know what I mean? It's just some people need to quit acting like
you got to turn it off
sometimes.
You got to turn it off sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got
what I mean? And then it's like, you know, to not make it like, but I speak because I am a woman. But even men know, like, no, you don't sag here. Not here. Not at this place. You know, you don't wear your hat inside. Not here. Not this place. It's just the point of like, no, it's not that people are trying to control. It's just some things, you know, have been established in society because it even secures children's.
Right. But for it to not even hit you mentally, it's not even registering. Like, you know, it's just like you just doing you like everywhere,
just everywhere, like just you want to be Eve everywhere.
It bothers me.
Be Eve everywhere.
Right.
Eve had to cover up too. Even she put on the leaves. She, you know, it's at some point she knew maybe God don't want to see me because I see me. You know, it's at some point it's just you really have to quit acting like I say, where it's just everything goes. I've been an American for 30 years. I'm down with free will, free speech, all this stuff, but there are limitations to everything. Like it is, it's just limitations. And I feel like we are just going down a spiral of what's next. Cause it's like almost you
don't nothing surprise me no more. Don't nothing surprise me no more. I just
it's like
everything goes now. I mean,
everything. It's like, you know, man, it's crazy to hear the radio and remember what it was like when I was little. And you know, I remember if a rap song came on, you know, you hurry up and change the station, right? You know, because your mama didn't want to hear that, or your grandma didn't want. And it's like now, it's like
when they get in the car with you finna change. You had something in, but you done took NWA out, and you done put in Marvin.
You know, like little Fred Hammond, Kirk Franklin.
But that's what you're supposed to do, though.
Or even R&B though, like R&B, almost every other song cuss now. Like you gotta have an edited version for R&B.
Yeah.
Dang, for R&B.
It's on a new level now, man.
Dang, it's explicit on the R&B. Like, everything ain't got no chill.
Nah,
it's like. Because I mean, and I feel like that's something from earlier generations that you can at least say they value protecting the mind of children.
Oh yeah,
they did value how we were seeing life because of everything they've been through. And like now, it's just so hands off. Oh, Yo, a 3-year-old can access TikTok and everything else. They can make their own videos at 7. You ain't got no control over what
They
they
got
see.
laws for everything now. Oh nope, we got to have this. We got to create a whole nother bathroom.
You
They
know?
they got rights. They got this.
And look, and look. I'm gonna say this
Don't you say
because
nothing.
I I respect
We're gonna
and
sue
value
you.
people's choices and everything, but as a woman, I remember the first time I was at my job, and I'm a federal employee, so they definitely don't believe in discrimination. That is what they're huge on. Ain't nobody trying to get sued.
Right.
They try to put it out there that can't no kind of form of discrimination. And I mean, but I remember the first time like seeing a transgender person walk into the bathroom, and it's like I feel like even though they have their rights, some things shouldn't be taken away from people who aren't at that state. You know what
I
I
get.
mean?
I
I
get
just
it.
feel like you can't bombard people, the majority, with a singular person's situation. And
Right.
that's how I feel sometimes about that, where it's like, no, it ain't about you being homophobic, and because I don't care what you do.
Right.
I don't care who
Absolutely.
you
But at the
lay
same
with.
time,
I
you
don't
don't
care how
force
you
that on me.
dress.
Don't
That's
force
your
that on me.
business.
Yeah. Don't force it on me though. Like you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
you
And
can't
that's
take
my
that
thing.
from me.
It ain't about, don't try to guilt trip me. Don't try to do nothing, because you're going to try to make something where it isn't, just to hurt your own feelings. I'm not about to look inside you up and tell you why I think da 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 da. I ain't about to guide you to death. I'm not about to Bible slap you with verses. I don't got time for that. I
Right.
don't care. It's just the fact that some people in this movement have chosen to just abuse it and try to
Yeah.
take away the identity of the natural woman.
Yeah.
We are born this way. We
Wow.
can't help it. Some people, they say from their viewpoints, their life. I can't try to position and try to group all of their community. But
Right.
it's one of those things where it's like some of them within it are choosing to really take the focus of blame and try to make everyone suffer for their choices. And that I feel like is not right.
Right.
You can't try to tell someone, that I have to accept you by force if I haven't even tried to wrong you in the first place. I
Right.
haven't tried to demean you in the first place. So why are you forcing yourself, your belief systems on me when I have nothing to do with it?
Right.
That's how I feel. It's really a portion of the population in the whole entire world that really just honestly don't care. And it ain't that I don't care, like, no, you're invisible, you don't exist, you don't need no
Right.
representation. No, 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 no. Some of us, like us in the heterosexual world, don't care about what other heterosexuals are doing. So
Facts.
we stop trying to make us feel like everyone is y'all victimizing y'all. Like, we're not trying to
I
attack everybody.
know. That's so
We're
real. 'Cause it's
not.
just like you can't even. It's like every show got to have a scene. Like it's like
Every
why?
right.
Even,
I said
even,
that
even
same
with
thing one
Tyler
time.
Perry, even
And
with
it's
some of
like,
the Tyler Perry
and
movies and
what
stuff,
you
I'm like,
said, what
we
you
just got
said.
to have, we just got to have a scene in there, huh, Tyler Perry? It's like,
Yeah.
why though? It wasn't even necessary. Why these two dudes got to just why we had to even go left?
Yeah. And I mean,
I don't
it,
get
it's
it.
it's crazy how some populations get representation fast, but other people got to work for theirs. I mean, that's just one thing that I just don't get. Like, it's I like I said, it's never about attacking a certain type of person or whatever. But when you know that other people have been oppressed a lot longer, and they get these passes, these literal laws being passed. You know
Literally.
what I mean? There are some I mean, really, you just even recently just got a bill that passed about women's hair. Like, why? It's just some stuff that it's like, really, out of all the things that women deal with, you pass one about hair. Now, grant, but it's like, why did we even have to do that? That was dumb. Like that, we got to get these kind of things in writing. We can't help the fact that the hair we grow, but to know that all the other stuff that gets ignored are paid.
Got to come back.
Or what I mean? It's just some stuff that, like I said, because I'm a federal employee, so I know just different things where I felt like are against me, where it's like there aren't even really a lot of things in place just to secure a pregnant woman, to even ensure that she is going to be able to take care of her child after she's conceived or had her baby. Like it's some jobs that don't even offer maternity leave.
Right.
Things like that, where it's like we haven't even gotten to a lot of places, and the world wouldn't be nothing if it didn't have a woman in it. Facts. You couldn't even populate. But yet you need all of us to at least give up a child at some point because it's a dollar sign. Like, for real, it's all a part of the system, but she doesn't benefit. Like, it's just some things where I'd be like, okay, y'all got y'all good. I'm sorry, but there are other things that are a lot more troubling to the world as a whole. And I just feel like, with the different things, everybody got their own battle. Everybody has their own battle they're fighting. And a lot of times, some people's battle is really just the skin they're in. It ain't the thought process they're in. It ain't the what gender I think I am. No. Outside of your sex life and who you want to lay down with, there are other struggles. Outside of how you want to dress and walk out the house, there are other struggles. You know what I mean? I don't agree with the fact that somebody will want to yell at somebody negatively or want to even throw some, beat them, or act negatively towards them because they don't look how you want them. That is just epitome of dumb. Like, it's just stupid. It's just pointless. That to me is just evil character.
Basically. Literally.
When you're only choosing physical attributes to tear somebody apart is why everything you feel compelled to say. No. Americans irritate me with that. That's not the point of freedom of speech. And if that was the original reason that they passed that law, it's dumb. Right. It's dumb. You want to okay people to literally verbally insult people just for the heck of it because they can think it. Like, that's a problem. That is a problem of self. That ain't got nothing to do with, what I mean, the point that you're sometimes literally fighting these uphill battles of trying to literally do it in a form that is beneficial to even society. Having a woman and a man have actual understandings of what equal rights is or even pay is overly important to me. Right. Than all these other things about Asian bills being passed and not getting harassed, but other Black people and teenagers and kids. Y'all ain't passed the bill for that. Not harassing kids, not harassing teens that can't defend themselves, or just stuff that's real life actually meaningful.
What's been going on?
That, you know what I mean? It's like, for real, no shade to your communities and what y'all doing. But it's like, the truth be told, you only benefit in that community when you try to exile yourself from another one that hurts. Everybody can't do that.
Right.
Everybody can't. There are some things that I face that every woman could know, and she ain't got to be Black.
Right.
But then there are some things that only a Black woman would know. That I know. You know what I mean? You don't just always pick your battles. You just know that once you walk out the door, they out there. Some people pick their battles to make them harder.
Right.
These ones you can't knock. You know what I'm saying? There's some things that you just can't change, no matter how much money you spend.
Right.
That means that's a real life thing.
You'll never be accepted like that.
You
just have to just deal with that.
Yeah, and it's just like, really, like, it's just, you never want to downplay nobody else's struggle or whatever it is they're going through, but there are some things that people know on the grand scheme of things are really actually almost genocide. It's really even emotionally, I feel like Black people have been experiencing emotional genocide for a long time. They've been trying to break us down and kill us off for with our emotions a long time. You got the whole drugs coming in, and you hear about just the things that even 80s babies, 70s babies, 60s babies experience, and to know that their children are living, they live today. You know what I mean? It's some stuff that it's just like, and they're dealing with that emotional abuse and trauma still to this day.
Right.
Things that generations haven't still been able to take away from the healing of a lot of blacks and even just men or women in their own lanes that the world has altered for each existence. Whether it's the place of a man or the place of a woman, those are things that literally are different almost on every continent.
Right.
You know, even on state lines, some things are just different. And it's like, because I know even one thing that I've looked at a lot lately, especially is as a black woman and growing up in the Midwest. I said, now, I said it's I see a lot of the stuff these white people do that go viral. They open racistness and all of that. And I said, that's funny. Midwest white folks don't be like that.
Right.
I said, the one I've been in Kansas, Nebraska, and Missouri. Like, I mean, I never lived in Missouri, but they're next door. So it's all in the same vicinity. You meet and work across the same people.
Right.
And the point is that some people, some whites are very good at hiding their racism.
Right.
So some where it's just along the lines that they don't have a problem with you because of how they view. But then that's like north and south. You know what I mean? And I am more in the upper portions of that. So it's like, even when I see that, knowing that I don't feel negative or some type of way about every woman that don't look like me.
Right.
Because I didn't have a negative experience with everybody. You know, I know what it's like to go to predominantly white schools. I went to 2 different PWI universities. I went to, you know, I went to high schools. So it's like knowing sometimes just the experiences of negativity and even how those things affect your lifestyle, viewpoints, and different things of how you have a responsibility to be able to even show that you know better.
Yeah.
You know better. You're not them. I don't have to be broken or dismissive or even ill-mannered to any other person just because, you know, somebody looked like them did it. You know what I mean? I just don't believe in just hurting somebody.
Yeah.
Verbally attacking and being dismissive of their whole existence all because of a thought process. If that's the case, stay away from them. The world is big enough to do that. Absolutely. You know, you're not about to not only just see what you want to see, but it's definitely big enough for you to make choices that doesn't have to resemble yesterday.
Right.
And some people just haven't gotten past that. I feel like that's why a lot of, even when we see in our presidencies and different things and how politics plays such a huge role, but at the same time, it's like, what do it really benefit us? How we keep literally as a whole American country with these same history books passing around that we all been reading since middle school. And knowing how everything done got to this point and y'all ain't thought of no wise way to fix it. Not
you ain't trying to fix it.
You know what I mean? You not. And it's truly
that never was the plan. They never put the blueprints of fixing it together. We're gonna let it run for a few years and then we're gonna implement the fixing into it. That's never been the plan. It's like, you know, like, come on, man.
For real. And I know that one of my things about that is I just believe, like, really, you value history for what it has brought you to today. But there are some things you have to acknowledge that are meant to change. We are meant to change some things. Some things are going to be consistent, but we are meant to change stuff. And some people have just gotten it to the point where it's like, instead of changing, you know, inwardly, change everything outwardly to fancy it up. Like we've gotten so that's where we, have the whole commercialized society, everything scripted, it's all fancied up. Even drama can be fancied up. We'll
Right.
clip it to
Yeah,
flip it. You
exactly.
know, it's like everything has this, fabricated version of it, and knowing that so many people are still seeking the truth in it.
Mhm.
We especially as Americans, it's so much truth we don't know in our own country.
It's
It's
shocking,
we just been lied to in our face on a regular basis.
man. Since birth.
And trying to even get to the bottom of truth so that you can even rise to the occasion. I know I even I was watching the reel and they had did a tribute on the Cinco de Mayo, and just hearing them give the explanation of what it really meant. How, we just everybody get some tacos or you drink. That's what they try to make it like it's about. But to them, but to hear them say that, oh, it's because, this small portion of Mexicans literally beat French and they was outnumbered, and that's how they came out on top. Like our little people did the most. We took them out. And I be finding myself where it's like to hear that, it literally took me to biblical. Because I
Mhm.
said, dang, God, you always got the small people taking out the majority. You always have the small people taking out the majority. And some people have to realize, you're not a minority. You're
Mhm.
not just always what they label you. But if you're small in number, that's a different kind of actualization.
Right.
Your numbers may be few, but you got a lot of weight. And
Lot.
especially because a lot of people who got their backs against the walls and everything to fight for are really going to come out on top. I have everything to lose. So I got to take a stand on it. And I feel like at some point, you're going to see a lot of different cultures and people rise up. I feel like that's our future.
Right.
I really do. I feel like it's getting to the point where you're gonna have to realize that people are preparing for their own wars behind the scene. People are rallying up in like minds, and you know it because social media is here.
Right.
There's so much you can do in secret. There's so many groups. Everybody has a group for whatever they uniting about, whatever. And at some point, people get tired. They
Right.
do. They get tired. And the fact is I do believe that God is not gonna change in the sense that He did it back then. He's gonna have warriors that are gonna take big people out.
Mhm.
You're not gonna expect that the small did it. And I feel like that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have women with integrity that are
Right.
gonna be able to take out everything that's just fabricated. You're gonna be able to have men that can take out dudes that are pedophiles, dudes that are manipulators, dudes that are abusive to women, dudes that are oppressors. You're gonna find them. Because the truth is that I feel like that is even a battle that a lot of men don't even talk about, is
Mhm.
knowing that y'all are really up against a system that look like y'all but don't always act like y'all. Y'all
Right.
have to find people that are on your team but won't try to take you out as well because you're trying to do what's right. And sometimes when a dude has to fight for the rights of a woman, he has a harder battle
Mhm.
because he realizes his place is supporting her. He does owe her that responsibility as her sister, as her son, as her husband. That grandson, you carry legacy. You naturally have responsibility that can be overlooked because it's just your norm.
Mhm.
But even with that, it's knowing that it's harder because you have ones, like I said,
Yeah,
that
you gotta
are,
look at what you battling. All you gotta do is just log in on Instagram. That's what you're battling right there. You got 50 million naked women.
and
That's
that's a
the key.
lane in itself.
That's the key. That's the
That's a
key.
lane in itself.
The strong men, or the men that's trying to do right by their wife, or trying to do this, or trying to do all these distractions. You're fighting literally when you walk out your door. You're fighting with a million distractions.
Yes. And I know because even as a woman at my job, I'm scrolling. I'm like, oh my God, thighs and breasts all out. I'm scrolling.
Look what we doing. That's
It's like,
cool. That's
dang.
cool.
Even
That's
as a
cool.
woman, I'd be overwhelmed with like how much is. So I understand. It just be there. You don't have to look for it.
No, not no more. It's
Mm-mm.
just like it's cool. But the diabolical thing about it all is you'll get blocked for something, but that content is cool. That could roll all day. That could roll all day long. They're gonna control your algorithm and all that. Not let you rise up, trying to push some positive energy out there. But a video of somebody killing somebody on live,
Yeah.
they're gonna raise the algorithm up and that's not gonna get blocked. You can't tell me you can't
Or
control
the
the
first
content
video.
or you not watching everything that's
The
being
first
posted.
video will get a lot of views. They will.
That's what we up against though. That's what I'm saying. You gotta know the fight. Just like you said. You gotta know the fight. And it's either you're gonna go against all that,
Yeah.
because it's so easy to just be a part of that.
It is. And that's because
But
and
the
too.
fight in battle, the real battle is over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going against the
Besides,
grain. I know that ain't right. I wasn't raised like I'm not.
yeah.
That ain't
Yeah.
me. I ain't
Knowing right
raised like
from
that.
wrong.
Yeah.
It all comes back to you knowing right from wrong and really getting to that point of saying, you know what? I shouldn't be doing this to women. I
Right.
shouldn't say that to a woman.
Right.
I shouldn't touch her. I should, you know what I mean? And or better yet, I see him doing it. I need to tell him. She don't like that, and I can tell. You know what I mean? It's so many things where
Or
it's
instead
like,
of, doing this, let's go get this. He's killing this man.
yeah,
Let's
call.
get this man. Let's get him off this man. At least we ain't trying to hurt him, but let's get him. That ain't
Yeah,
right. But we know that ain't right. But we gonna just capture it on video.
yeah, because you want the viral credit.
We'll just get that.
Yeah,
What
you
happened?
can. I mean, you can definitely call 911 and then record until they get there.
You might have would have got locked up too. But believe one thing: when the news would have got out, somebody was coming to get you because that
Yeah,
just wasn't right.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
this woman getting slaughtered out here by her old man or whatever, and we're just gonna man, that's messed
Yeah,
up,
and
man.
I mean, but yet there is always somebody who ends up being at the right place at the right time. And some people really do move. You know what I mean? You really be like, oh my gosh. Like some people got a heart of a superhero. You know, they
Right.
can go out there and not think twice, or you know what I mean, or think like, if it was me, I want somebody to do it, and they actually do it. I mean, it is. It's some people that aren't just bystanders. They won't just, scroll. They won't just record, but they will do something. And I know it is even harder. Like, like I said, talking about battles, it's harder because you got a whole police system that's taking us out. No matter if you're a woman, no matter if you're a man, no matter, it's like they don't care. You can really get to a point like,
Now
how
look, we got a
do I
comment
feel
right
like
here.
I can help?
We got a comment right here. Driver seat say women need to stop sleeping with guys you complain about.
Well, I think that some people probably complain after the encounter. Like, I mean, I don't. If they complain first, that's their problem. If they
Right.
complain after, that's their experience. So, like, hey, I'm one of them where it's like, hey, I don't badmouth every person I done gave myself to. That's a personal experience. That don't even be everybody experience to the point where you like, hey, every person I done messed with is horrible. Like, whoa,
Right.
resume out there. Don't like, hey, it's not a good
You gotta
conversation.
keep something preserved. Listen, man. you already know whenever we link up, you already know it's chapters. It's a book. So this is chapter 2, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we got many more chapters that we have to go through, and I'm super excited about it. It's always this every time you come
Yeah.
on. And I just let's get some quick shout outs and to anybody that you want to give flowers to or whatever. Let's go ahead on and get those flowers, and then let's put the social media platforms and ways that people can actually connect with you. We still have the book that's doing really well that we need people to go get more copies of. Let's put all that information out there. Facts.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay. I want to say shout out to my mama, my daddy, all my siblings. Too many got a name. My cousins, aunties, all my Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat supporters, family, followers. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Sultry_the Poet, and that's on Instagram. I go by Kiana Lashaya on Facebook, YouTube, and Snapchat. So those are my platforms. I just want to say thank you for everyone who's supporting me by buying my book. I also want to say that you can order it. It's still on xlibris.com. It's also available on Amazon. And if you just can't find it, just do like most people in Google Soul Inspirations, A Journey for the Divine. And I also have my album for the book, which is available on Apple Music, iTunes, and it's just a portion of the poems in the book. And the book, there's 112. For the album, there's 27. So what I did was customize the poems from the book that I felt was essential for everyone to hear. So if you don't have the book, you can always stream it.
Wow. That is available right now. So good people, y'all don't play games and go and support this queen right here who is
Please.
doing amazing things out here and have been doing amazing things out here.
Yeah.
Listen, also too, they can also get the book and get the music via from the website as well. Can we put the
Uh-huh.
website out there?
Hmm.
Let's
Yeah.
put the web address out
But
there.
I do know that everything is definitely, it's either Googleable, streamable. You'll find it on anything just with soul inspirations.
Right. No
But yeah,
excuses, basically.
no
Is what she
excuses.
said. Yeah,
I'm the
exactly.
only one with that title out there.
Look, Sultry, is again, it's always a beautiful, magical moment every
Yes.
time we connect. And I want to just tell you that I'm super proud of you. I
Thank you.
love everything that you're doing, and I'm so excited about all of the things that you're manifesting and bringing to us. It's just nothing but blessings because you're a blessing, and you're walking in your purpose. And I just thank God for you and for me and the Vibe team. We just want to say thank you so much for always coming on the show and blessing us with all of the inspiration. You're just so much inspiration. I'm serious. Like
Thank you.
I really enjoy it every time, and you got to come back on here.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely. Look, and before we get out of here or whatever, anything that we can look forward to that's coming up.
I recently did a interview with Hallmark with the executive producer named Susan. So I'll
Girl,
be uploading that interview on my page
congratulations.
soon. Thank you. That was exciting. I've It's funny because one day I remember I used to say that I was going to write for Hallmark. So this is cool to be able to have said that on their, their Hallmark platform. I was able to actually do an interview for a book that I did with poetry. So those kind of things I'm blessed to say, but I don't know what's next. I know that I'm still in the writing zone. I know that I'm still trying to do other things,
Any
but
movies?
because I move in the silence, it's so difficult.
Any movies? Any movies on the cooking up there? Any?
You want to know the crazy thing is, look, I could be real with you and tell you, I've had book ideas. I literally, when I say just yesterday, the other day, I had like a whole movie idea. I've had like two different movie ideas. I was like, man, I need to get my Ice Cube on. Like,
Seriously though, you know how
I,
dope that, but
I
you
just
know how
was
dope
like,
that
dude,
would
it's
be. You
crazy
know how
to
dope
know
that
how
would
some
be.
ideas come.
That you know how dope that would be though to paint that picture, to bring those experiences to script and actually put it together. When you're ready to do, I know film producers, and we could.
Don't
I
play
need
with me.
you just got to get the script. You got to get the script. You get the script. I'm talking about like your story alone.
Cause I'm telling you, I had so many ideas, and it's because of a post circulated around that got my attention, and it was saying, can Black people have good entertainment without the trauma? And I was like, that's real.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, now, granted, they got to give credit because some people have brought good movies, good comedies and stuff, but I do understand that we want more. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I had just so many random ideas pop up. And when I say I saw a
Yeah.
whole movie script, like to
Right.
detail, like
Writing
I
it.
almost said the name, but I don't want people trying to take the title
Yeah. Yeah.
of what I was thinking. But just along the lines of just knowing just the casualties of how casual it is for artists to cross paths,
Mm-hmm.
just being able to capture that in story film form, where it's like I've had ideas of just poetry themed movies, where it's like, dude, people sleep on poetry, and to know some of the poetry scenes that really exist in a Black community on college campuses, just like it's crazy to know who come out in these atmospheres, and you realize that like these are some of the dopest people in the world, and they
I want
really
to
go
connect
on to
you.
be some of the greatest people.
I want to connect you with a really, 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 really close person that's in my life who actually we just launched a poetry platform called Decipher.
Oh, that's dope.
I want to
That's
connect you
dope.
two together because I just feel like, and I mentioned you to him, and I'm going to connect you two together,
I
and
would love
I
that.
think you coming on his platform would just be this. I just know it'll be dope. I'm gonna get with you when we get off the air. We got to get out of here.
Definitely.
Um,
I'm all for, because I'm one of them people, and I'll say real, and I'll be real to say it on your show. Like that was one of my dreams that I confessed, and I said, dude, I said I'm trying to be one of the first mainstream poets that people know, because I said it's crazy how long poetry has existed and been on the scene, but it ain't never
Not
had
the
its
forefront
own
though. Not the
mainstream, its
forefront.
platform, its genre of real completion, where you don't have to say, oh, I write poetry, but I
Yeah.
made it songs so I can make money. I write poetry, but I have to rap to make money. Like, you shouldn't have to be, there's nothing wrong with advancing your gifts, but it's
Mhm.
another thing when you're strong in something, and when you know that you hear names like Maya Angelou, or you know the Nikki Giovanni's, or the things of the people who really transcend in the literary world, but
Mhm.
to know they're by the few.
Right.
And it's like, why aren't they consistently bringing each generation on the platform? Because poets are the main people that you can listen to them talk and people will hush.
Mhm.
You will even you want to hear what they got to say because they know how to take your thoughts and put them in good form.
Facts. I gotta connect y'all. I got to because
I
I
would love
feel
it.
like
I'm telling you.
I,
I
I,
just think
I
it's
got
so
you.
dope how many real life poets do their things. Even some that I like will watch that are over in Europe. Like, because I mean, the poetry scene is different on different countries, but it's some who have really made it like, yeah. And I
Mhm.
feel like America just ain't jumped on board because there's so many people with voices that don't have to be just limited to a spoken word stage or open mic night. Like there are people whose voices are powerful enough to make money and you don't have to have a microphone to doing a talk show. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? It's just so much that I'm like, Lord, if God willing, if it's me, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
For
I
real,
see it.
because I'm bringing people with me.
I see it. Listen, I love you. I'm wishing you more blessings and more success. I'm gonna hit you up. We're gonna talk off the air, and I'm gonna connect you and Aaron together. And I'm just excited about anything that you guys could possibly do together. Just this whole thought thing has just got me going crazy. We got to get out of here. I love you, Sultry. I'm going to
Love
call you.
you.
It's the Vibe Show 97.9 with my special guest, the queen, the one and only Sultry the Poet. We love y'all. You guys, y'all have a blessed day. Shout out to everybody who showed my special guest so much love. We love y'all. Y'all continue to be safe. Take care of yourself. And until next time, it's the Vibe Show. We out of here.
Let's go! Let's go! New shit. Hey, yo, verse. Hey, talk to him. Yeah, now tell me should I feel so wrong for things I'm setting aside?